Alright everyone, game on as we're heading into another Night Elf versus Orc here in Warcraft 3, and currently down to the bottom of the map we have a Relic as the Night Elf player going up against the Russian Orc CheerOn up to the top left with his aka Future is Ours. So we're going to see a Night Elf versus Orc here. It's going to be a fun one, both of them pretty high up in the ladder actually. This is supposed to be a pretty decent game as well. Haven't really checked it out just yet, but let's see how this is going to be approached. For me personally, it's kind of exciting because I haven't really casted too much Orc versus Night Elf in the newest patch, only a couple of games, and I really want to see if the patch has maybe shifted the meta a bit as well from that perspective for the Night Elf in particular, whereas Keeper of the Grove was a hero that was heavily focused in the previous patch and is still insanely popular in general. We have actually seen more and more Demon Hunters coming in as the first hero here. Starshaped, for example, used it against Maru in the previous series, but in this case, are we going to still play with the Keeper? Or are we going to see a deviation from the norm? No, Keeper it is still, so going to try and play around that. Still extremely powerful against an Orc, simply because the units of an Orc player are, of course, quite expensive, very hit point heavy, and if you can force an engage through him getting entangled, that's always worth a lot. Interesting part here already is that we don't have a barracks just yet, so we see a Farseer opening for the Orc player, for CheerOn, and it's very likely that we're going to see a tech into the stronghold before the barracks even comes out. Farseer allows you for very early tech, and having now the second Orc Burrow already coming in this early, definitely a bit of an indication for that. With Voodoo Launch now also being built immediately to get a bit of an item access. And in the meantime, looking down to the bottom, we have an opening with the Ancient of War. Actually not built anywhere towards a mercenary camp. Would have had to go pretty far out actually on this map particular to make that work. But still, of course, going to access that through the first Archer, and then we're going to see what kind of creep pattern Relic decides to go for. In the meantime, the second burrow is done for Future is Ours, for CheerOn up to the top, and that tech should come in pretty soon here. But already the Scout, and that's a big question right now. Is he actually going to be able to hide that well enough? Nope, Farseer gets in, there's the detonate, drains some mana, the Wisp is lost though, and also no additional information. Another Wolf on the way to double check what the Night Elf is up to down in the main base, and so far we don't see any creeping here. It's all about the harass right now, and we're actually gonna see some treant aggression, and there's the tech immediately scouted out, but with a second Orc Burrow in place, you don't really have a chance without an entangle to get any of those peons killed. So good opening here from the Orc in terms of the build that he chose with a double Orc Burrow, very safe for the peons, but obviously at this point Relic already with his Keeper first is very well in the know that there's not really a big chance of any push coming his way fairly soon, and he himself can now decide how he wants to play this. Either go into a quick tech himself, trying to maybe go for more units, go for an expansion play, played with a dominant position in the early game on the map, and then trying to deal with the opponent's tech. But for now we have, with a double Ancient of War here, the first Huntress is already being produced. So a bit of a dominant position in the game already as is, but I really want to see if there is an adjustment now that he knows what kind of strategy is being played by his opponent. And as we said before, CheerOn attempting to harass with the Farseer a little bit, no experience on the first hero. The Keeper doesn't have anything either, so both of them not creeping at all. And this is not really the best or the worst spot. If your opponent doesn't get experience for his heroes either, you're usually fine. Lacking in that department quite a bit as well. Having a War Mill now being produced, the barracks late added after the tech into a Stronghold has started. So we're going to see the fast second hero also for CheerOn. And in the meantime, still the harass down at the bottom of the map. Our Night Elf player, one basing it still though, and still not starting a tech into tier 2 either. So there's a lot of scouting still going on with the wolves that CheerOn is bringing in. But we have Relic now at 27 supply against 18 for the time being. The Orc player now, of course, with the nearly completed tech into tier 2. War Mill also nearly completed. And could see him here with a Headhunter commitment if you wanted to, but of course needs something at that front line as well. For now, it's just simply the Night Elf player that is starting to creep. Mainly because the Orc also was running out of hit points and mana a bit and had to regenerate with the healing salves here. Had to retreat a bit, and that of course gave a little bit more space to the Night Elf to finally attempt to get his Keeper onto level 2, which is going to be a huge deal for him. One of the big problems against the Farseer early on was that he committed to treants because he was trying to harass his opponent's infrastructure and his economy, but he never got that done because of the double Orc Burrow and nothing that he could really attack. But without having Entangle as the level 1 talent, he had a tough time shutting down that harass from the Farseer in the first place, and that was definitely a bit of an issue for him. Now with level 2, we can see him be way more aggressive now, especially with those Huntresses that are already in the game. And CheerOn needs to be a bit careful here. He's still relying on a Farseer that doesn't have anything in terms of experience. So 0 XP for him, and the Shadow Hunter now coming in as the second hero with the first Troll Headhunters also making an approach. Spirit Lodge being added, and we're seeing the Torrent Totem. In this case, no Beastery, by the way, so not going into any kind of raiders that could help him with an ensnare during those fights, but heavily committed instead to piercing units to just capitalize on the unarmored armor of the Huntress. But of course, you can't just one base on hunts the entire time and think you're going to get away with that if your opponent has a fast tech going. So we're currently seeing in the main base, or we will have to see an adjustment from the Night Elf player fairly soon here. Since right now, the advantage definitely goes to CheerOn. He already has a stronghold, he has a Shadow Hunter, he's starting to creep now as well with both of the heroes, and we're also seeing him with a tech into Spirit Walkers, and he's adding Shamans as well. And nothing else from the Night Elf. Commitment to a ton of Huntress, and there it is finally, the expansion attempt that we're seeing from him. Going all the way to the top right, only 2 gold mines outside of the main bases available on the base, and Ancient Protectors. Massive pressure right now. Trying to tower up against his opponent, moving in, pressuring with Huntress, trying to also get that keep on a higher level. Good item for him too with the Wand of Mana Stealing. Definitely going to help him quite a bit to keep a potential aggression going on for longer by transferring mana over from his opponent's heroes to the Keeper of the Groove. We get an Anchor-free Incarnation actually for the Farseer. Still both of those heroes on level 1 though, and that's a bit of a concern. More and more hunts coming in, no tech, just committing all of his resources to units, and we have Relic now on 42 supply, and there's the double Ancient of War coming in at this point, and now with Serpent Wars, an additional piercing damage, the attempt of CheerOn to actually hold against his attack. His supply numbers are still a bit lower, but they're actually not that bad. 36 for him against the strong tier 1 units from the Night Elf though, and that expansion is on the way. So in the long run, the idea of Relic is of course to hold on to the next expansion, get the superior economy, and keep applying pressure with maybe eventually starting a tech into tier 2 himself, so that he can add a little bit more. But of course, that would be a heavy commitment to resources that if you try to go for such an aggressive move, you can't really commit to unless you are willing to move away from this. First Ancient Protector already in position here, starting to attack the Spirit Launch, a bit fast forward. Tech into Fortress now even, on the side of CheerOn, and he has still the Shamans, initiate upgrade for them, 2 of them. Not getting any additional upgrades. Actually, getting the Adept upgrade done just as we speak, but that's a double Ancient Protector right now, and more Hunters joining the fun. Relic still hasn't committed to a low upkeep, sitting at 43, but has now the expansion in play and is going to entangle the gold mine and add a couple of wisps to have the additional gold income that would help him to pump out even more units and eventually tech into the next level as well. For the time being, it's all about denying tech. Moving in, going up against those Serpent Wards, and just a Huntress commitment. Pushing that down and trying to eliminate at least the Spirit Lodge to make sure that no additional Shamans can be produced here. And that is tech denied already. It's going to be a little bit more tricky for him to actually access the Tower and Totem, but the commitment here, taking the Troll Headhunter down, more experience for the Keeper, double Ring of Protection for him, would have definitely liked different items here, but has the extra armor now to at least be a bit more tanky. Double upgrade, level ups here for the Orc player, immediately the Wand of Mana Stealing being used, getting a few more healing waves coming through to try and keep the Orc army alive, but the Farseer is in trouble, gets entangled, and it should be the end of him. Down he goes. Farseer eliminated, and things are not looking pretty for CheerOn. 44 supply against 34, but a Demolisher, 2 already in the main base. Trapped actually all the way here in the back, trying to move out now. And this is going to put massive pressure onto the Huntress without the armor. And Relic realizes it immediately and moves back and says, okay, double Demolisher, not going to be able to handle that any time soon. The siege damage with the extra damage against unarmored units is just way too tricky for him. He tries and again commit a bit with the Keeper to harassment. He's nearly level 4 because he plays the solo hero, but we're having now 2 level 2 heroes on his opponent's side. Farsia, granted, dead for the time being, but already being revived in the Altar of Storms. The expansion, of course, being a big factor right now for the Night Elf. And he has the tech into the next level. The Tree of Ages already started. He has the expansion, so he definitely has the superior economy. He's trying to catch up with his tech too, but he needs a lot more on the map now that we are having the Orc player starting to really commit to an extremely diverse tier 2 army. Having, of course, more items coming in now too. Scroll of Speed for the Shadow Hunter, especially on level 3. Once that we are seeing those, either the Healing Wave on level 2 or even the Serpent Wards committed to as a level 3 talent, it's going to be a lot tougher to go up against that if you're playing Huntress. Serpent Wards with the piercing damage can be an absolute nuisance in the later stages of the game, and by now with the tech into the fortress accomplished as well, we are even having Torrents added on the side of CheerOn. So he's really looking strong here. But the superior position on the map, and all the space that he has created, is now allowing Rollik to creep the map. He has map control, and he uses it as much as he can. He moves out right away, gets as an item replenishment potion. He's not really lucky Night Elf, let's just put it like that. He gets a Scroll of Healing and a Scroll of Protection though, and is now still able to move out here. Keep his numbers in mind, he's sitting at 47 supply, but the Orc player now has already crossed over into low upkeep. Committed to that, no actually, my bad, sorry, the Night Elf player has crossed over into the low upkeep with the expansion that he has. It's the Orc player who's just sitting below 50 supply. And that makes a lot more sense since he is one-basing it right now, and he's of course trying to use his advantage through economy, even going through the tech, going into the Shaman Master training, wants to get Bloodlust as well now. Ancient of Wind being produced in the meantime, double Ancient of Wind even on the side of our Night Elf player after the tech into the Tree of Ages got completed. And the Wolves of course scouted the expansion by now, so CheerOn definitely knows that he can't just sit tight here forever. He needs to at some point make a move, and it's very likely to be timed around his upgrade into Bloodlust. Having the next few walkers also coming out, going for the master training on them as well, trying to revive Tauren later on if possible, is another big step for him, and he has a decent army here. But both of those heroes are still on level 2 and running straight into the protection being used. Surround on the Farsia again, and that's an easy kill even with the healing wave. No chance of keeping the Farsia alive. He goes down, the Keeper nearly level 5, and immediately he goes for the Scroll of Speed and says like, okay, I gotta get out of here. Tries to get a bit more pressure on, but it's really tough battling uphill here. And yeah, he also realizes that the positioning with the hero up there at the front was not quite working out for him. And it's the strength really of having such a big army. The quick entangle, the quick surround, the immediate focus fire, no town portal on the Farsia, no chance for CheerOn to move out. And a big problem here for him as he's falling a little bit farther behind. 64 supply against 50 right now, and we're seeing also fairy dragons being produced for the Night Elf. Currently still hiding those, only showing Huntress, not really revealing his tag pattern to his opponent. We still had of course those wolves scouting earlier and definitely getting a whiff of those Ancient of Winds, but not very likely that he actually saw what kind of units would be put into play here. We're still having him with the master training nearly completed. Farsia about to get out as well, but here comes the attack against the Demolishers, and the first one is about to fall. Good cut off. Well done. Shadowhunter still on level 2, but here comes the Lightning Shield now, and the Tauren at the front, extremely tanky of course. The Entangled dispelled by the Shamans immediately. Actually in this case it was not the Purge that dispelled it, instead it was the Spirit Walker who got the dispel, and another Scroll of Healing already put to the test. And we're having even more aggression through the Tauren, healing waves being used by a Shadowhunter whenever possible, and now the Hunters need to be careful. The surround attempt again, this time against the Shadowhunter. The immediate focus fire is gonna drop him. Level 5 on the Keeper, another hero taken down, but at least the Farsia is still in play, and more Hunters are falling now that we're seeing the focus fire being returned, and the Night Elf loses unit after unit. Bloodlust absolutely brutalizing that Night Elf army, getting the Purge in to stop one of the Hunters in the attempt to retreat from the fight, and that's another dead unit with additional experience on the side of the Farsia, who by now has nearly hit level 3. Things are still a bit grim for the Orc player. 45 supply for him, 60 that we're seeing for the Night Elf. And as you can tell right now, using the Fountain of Health here to heal his units up again. The Keeper on level 5, but still committed to a single hero. Hasn't added the tier 3 tech, hasn't added any additional hero, is just playing with only a Keeper at this point, heavily reliant on items as you could see in the previous fight, several times buying himself a Scroll of Protection and also getting a Scroll of Healing to mitigating some of that AoE damage through the militias in particular, and then during the fights always trying to go for a quick surround against the hero with the amount of hunters that he has on the ground after an entangle and then getting those kills in. So extremely well done here by the Night Elf player, but the Orc definitely still having that superior tech, and that is something that especially the more high-tech unit can get into the game, with more Torrents that are joining the fun, with Bloodlust, with Spirit Walkers on the Adept training that can actually not only cast Spirit Link but also have the Ancestral Spirit. This is a fantastic setup for him. Creep already through, and he actually finds the hilarious Flute of Accuracy. He has a couple of ranged units, so they can definitely benefit from them, but here comes the fight. Nearly 80 supply, and again, this time the Town Portal in play. The same attempt by the Night Elf player. We've seen that MO in the previous fights. Entangle and the quick surround, but this time CheerOn was ready. Goes for the immediate TP, moves out, and has for now 2 heroes on level 3. Again, measuring up against the Keeper that has level 5, has once again gone to the shop, bought a Scroll of Healing and a Scroll of Protection, but we're now having on the Orc side at least the Flute of Accuracy, great for the Shamans as well, gives a bit of a damage boost to the Torrents of course too, and he's adding additional Headhunters, Forest Troll Berserkers that can definitely benefit from that a lot more even, and will get that extra damage in. And considering how much of that Night Elf army still consists of Huntress with 0 upgrades on armor, this entire army is going to do a lot of work, especially with that piercing damage, of course, that's about to come. The Fairy Dragons, on the other hand, that's a little bit of a different story. That's definitely a huge nuisance, oftentimes seen against Undead as well, since they're of course immune to magic, and therefore it's very difficult to deal with them with heroes alone. Another creep coming in as the Orc is starting to break through the defenses at the expansion, breaking through those Spirit Towers, but, sorry, the Ancient Protectors. But we're seeing the creep completed, and as an item, we're actually seeing a Ring of Protection +4. Now, if I'm the Keeper, I'm actually feeling trolled at this point. You're only finding Ring of Protections the entire time and have now +8 armor on that hero. At least I think that's what we're looking at. Yep, we do. Could have been so many better items. But right now, he's just saying, okay, we have to deal with what we get. But it's definitely not a lucky Night Elf. I'm questioning the decision to go into the high upkeep a little bit. 86 upkeep for him at this point, supply. Not staying at 80 is definitely hurting him with the income. And one of his biggest advantages in this game is still this additional mining from the second gold mine. Because just looking over here, CheerOn has only 3,400 left in his own base. But that high upkeep is definitely a big problem. Not expanding down here again either, not creeping that spot, but now having of course a massive control. 90 supply against 59, but the tier 3 tech advantage as such a huge factor in this fight right now. Here come the Wisps trying to go for the detonate into the back, but we are having the focus on the Farseer again on level 3. The Keeper on the other hand is on level 5.5 at this point. The healing wave coming through once more, time after time. Level 4 on the Farseer. The Night Elf army dropping quite quickly down to 60 supply. A lot of experience now on the side of the Shadowhunter, who hits level 4, but there's the tranquility as the Keeper of the Grove is getting his heroic, his ultimate, and uses it right away to keep his army alive. Scroll of the Speed used in an instant to move the army back to safety and not fight in the channeling spell. But definitely a lot of damage now done by CheerOn as well. He's doing work. He definitely does. Those hunters on the ground, they don't stand a chance anymore. And it's that big hero factor that comes into play right now. And also, of course, all of those fairy dragons. But CheerOn is looking much better in these fights all of a sudden. Entangle coming through. Healing wave a bit too late to save the Troll Berserker. And again, it's those torrents that do just so much work. 1,300 hit points. And they're showing it's difficult for the Night Elf to break through here. Maybe changing the tech a little bit, not going to the Fairy Dragons would have been the play here. He's sitting at a Keeper on 6.5, but now slowly and steadily we're seeing the Orc gain a bit more ground in this game. Nearly level 5, for the Farseer. Shadowhunter, 4.5. No items left any longer on any of these heroes. No consumables, no town portal. Needs to be incredibly careful that he doesn't get surrounded anymore. But there's also nearly no ground units left on the side of the Night Elf, who dropped down to 49 supply against the 45 that we're seeing for CheerOn. More and more Huntress now being built. The tech into the Tree of Eternity has been completed previously, but the situation is starting to look a lot more grim for the Night Elf player all of a sudden, as we are seeing the Orc still moving through, getting that Bloodlust in. Dispel coming from the Wisp, staring the mana, draining all of it from the two heroes, and now slowly and steadily CheerOn starting to realize that he still should move out here. Has won a bit of a battle, but moves away from the rest of the army and tries to just recover his forces, get back to 50 supply that he nearly has, buy a couple of items, and not risk the superior position that he fought over. Relic, on the other hand, he's at 54. Still low upkeep for him, and still fighting over this expansion. Yes, the Wisp got lost as he detonated them, but he's rebuilding them immediately. And as we said before, this gold mine is slowly and steadily starting to run out. 1,700 at this point. The one thing that I'm actually also a little bit weirded out about is that we're actually not seeing any fairy dragons with mana flare trying to just being used in these fights against a tool against the shamans in the back, who are continuously just casting Purge and Bloodlust. And of course also the Spirit Walkers. Now again, when we're looking towards shamans, there's not really a lot left anymore, but it was definitely a bit of a weird thing to see in that last fight, that was not a bigger priority for him to try and make the caster's life a lot more difficult through those moves. The expansion still, the thorn in the side of the Orc player, but of course that level 6 Keeper of the Groove with again a Scroll of Healing and another Scroll of Protection is starting to become more of a worry as well. The Farseer is on level 5 by now. The Shadowhunter has an extra portion of mana in his inventory. That's another big tool. Chain Lightning's rattling through again. And here comes the attack with a Scroll of Protection already being used. The Night Elf has to fight for this one. And he's trying to snipe those units in the back. Wisp moving in again. Double Serpent Ward already on the ground, trying to snipe the Huntress one after another. Scroll of Protection is doing wonders here to keep these units alive. The Kotobi still not with Devour being used. Healing waves coming through one after another. Level 5 for the Shadowhunter. That mana potion doing so much work at this point. But the Keeper again with a Tranquility. Maybe even a bit too late at this point in time, using Tranquility in a fight, keeping the units alive here. Relic is down to 29 supply, and on the other hand we have 40 still for the Orc player, who's doing so much damage right now with those torrents all the way up at the front, and the Forest Troll Berserkers as well. Spirit Link still on the units, and the True Shot Aura especially powerful for those ranged units now, as we are seeing the Shadowhunter starting to drop low. Keeper without a lot of mana though, trying to get close enough again to drop him. Maybe another Entangle here in just a few seconds to drop the hero, but the Huntress are already in hot pursuit, and it looks like the Shadowhunter is gonna run out of luck here. The Entangle comes through, and that's the kill. The Keeper nearly level 8 at this point in time, and they're going for the Orc as well. It looked like CheerOn had that fight won, but now it comes down to the Farseer barely surviving, getting access at the Voodoo launch again to a healing potion, something that was denied to the Shadowhunter previously, and now the big fight for those heroes. CheerOn, the Orc, on 35 supply against 27 for his opponent. Level 6 for the Farseer here. And we have the Keeper again at the shop going for the potion of lesser invulnerability. The gold mine nearly completed. 280 gold left. Absolutely nothing. But Relic is down to 20 supply. Only 20. There's still 2 torrents in play here. And CheerOn basically just barely holds on to this fight right now. But he's trying to drop the expansion. He has a good shot at actually winning this. But here comes with the Wand of Illusion, another attempt on the side of Nwanda and the Keeper of Relic to try and go in and get another kill. He tries to go for the Farseer. Here comes the Entangle, Potion of Lesser Invulnerability already used, and once more to attempt to take down the first hero from the Orc player, who's making a desperate attempt to get close enough to the shop for another potion, goes for the double, gets the potion of mana, gets the potion of healing, Chain Lightning onto the Keeper, one hit after another again, and now the Keeper is on the run, soon having the mana again for another Entangle, but it doesn't matter, he goes down. And that's a dead Keeper and a level 7 Farseer. Still a few Torrent in play here. And from a supply perspective, this is an easy choice right now. 15 supply against 34. The Keeper has been rebought, but Relic is still believing in his chances of maybe making a bit of a comeback here. He lost his expansion, but he knows there is no gold any longer for his opponent either. Let's look at the Shadow Hunter. Not coming back anytime soon. No money left. 200. Not enough to get access to the second hero. So it's Farseer against Keeper. But the army of the Orc player just much stronger at this point in time. 34 supply for the Orc against 14 for his opponent. It's all about the ensnares. It's all about the attempt. If he drops the Farseer, he can win the game in the long run. He can play around his opponent, hero against hero. Who dies first? The army trying to drop the Keeper, but the Keeper with one entangle after another, and there's no mana on the Farseer. He doesn't have any mana, and look at Rollik. He actually has everything he needs right now. One entangle is hitting after another. Who is dying first at that moment? He tries to get the additional entangle in, but he has to be cautious. Might have to TP out. Maybe still a little bit of mana left in the Moonwells to heal himself again. Another entangle, not dispel, doesn't have the mana for another dispel. And the Farseer is incredibly low, but has a potion of healing. And the Keeper is on his way back. About to hit level 8 as well. Another attempt to get a bit more creep going so that he gets more items that he can sell. So that he is actually in a position where he gets more gold to get that Shadow Hunter back to business. And the Keeper barely surviving. Continuously attempting to drop that Farseer. And if he's able to pull it off, he has a chance to win this game. Despite the fact that he basically does not have anything left. Potion of Greater Mana. What a fantastic item for CheerOn to get now. Can definitely either sell it, get a lot of money for it and try and get the Shadow Hunter back, or simply keep it and get the surprise Chain Lightning against his opponent and drop another set of Wolves. There's more creep spots on the map that he could definitely focus on, but for the time being, it's all about the move back. Can go to the shop, get a couple of healing salves, focus on that instead. The Keeper is still on the mission. It's a man... Well, I'm not quite sure if that's really the best term there. It's a man, it's a horse, it's something, and it's on the mission, and it tries to take the Farseer down. Already starting to move in here, dropping another set of treants. Level 8 is there, and now can he get a kill in? It's unlikely at that point in time. Already we're seeing the Shadow Hunter being rebuilt, but the Keeper is trying a last desperate attempt to go for the Farseer. Has to go in deep for this. If he gets surrounded at any point, this is going to be game. Rollik is fighting for his life in this game. Is getting another entangle through. Has to be so cautious. It's a single hero. Here come the treants. Does he get another entangle in? He's trying to get the kills. The Torrent might actually fall, but there's the entangle against the Farseer. The immediate dispel, as we're at least having the Spirit Walkers with enough mana for it. There's no more items on the Farseer yet either. Should have enough for Chain Lightning. Goes for the Wolves instead, and the Keeper on the move back here, as we're having desperately the attempt for the Farseer to survive, and he barely does. 80 left. 80 HP left for him, and so we still see the Keeper in play too, just running from the Wolves that are high on his heels here. The invisible Shadow Wolves on the move, looking in the base. Night has fallen again. The Moon will slowly recharging their mana, has a chance to recover hit points and mana as he moves in here, and even the Tree of Eternity is looking to participate in this battle. Getting absolutely crazy down here. The Wolves still trying to drop the Keeper. Another entangle even being used. More mana being dropped. And now the Keeper slowly and steadily making sure that he gets the hit points back. But Night has just now fallen. And it's going to take some time for those Moonwell to regenerate to a point where the Keeper can fully recover. One Wand of Illusion. All that he has is in his inventory. And once that we're seeing the Shadow Hunter in the game, it should be over. Double hero against a single. This has to be it. Two heroes, a Shadow Hunter and a Farseer going in now. The attempt to walk the expansion over, the main base over, and get access to another gold mine is already scouted out, and that's where the aggression of the Orc is headed now. 7 Farseer, 8 Keeper, and the Shadow Hunter on level 5, getting mana now as well. The army bigger too, and this is a last-ditch attempt. He was so close of taking that Farseer out several times, but right now things are very, very unlikely to turn in favor of a Night Elf that controlled huge parts of this game and put the pressure on. Great play here so far. Again, the Keeper on the move back, trying to move around here, but the tree is about to fall. With the Tree of Eternity gone, this would be it. Farseer is low, but with the mana on the Shadow Hunter, that's an easy heal. And there is already the first, the GG well played as he leaves the game. And Rollik loses against CheerOn in a pretty cool game here, with a very, very aggressive strategy from the Night Elf with a double Ancient of War Huntress into expand, but the tech of CheerOn in the end superior, even with all the aggression that we've seen against the heroes. So I hope that you enjoyed the game, guys, and if you did, of course, make sure that you hit the like button on the YouTube video. And that's basically it for now. There's going to be more content pretty soon. And yeah, a little bit more Orc versus Night Elf on the channel here. So hope you have a good week, enjoy, and see you guys soon.